Good morning and welcome to the verse of the day plus on this 16th of March 2020. Just give me a second. I'm going to share this out. Close. Okay, so we are now ready. Okay, today the verse of the day comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. You know what? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This is to the believer, but, what it's telling you to do. However, it does remind me a little bit of, put on the whole armor of God, combined with, what is it? The love chapter, not the love chapter, or love is, I think. So, combining the armor, the everyday clothes of the Christian believer. Compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make sure you're wearing them. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's it for that. We get on with this. Let me pop up the chat so it's easy to read. Not that a lot of people always can buy for this. I need to get it on the mouse. Seriously. Oh, really? Okay, so we are in chapter 26. The sin that's not sin. Let's see what it says. Doesn't matter as much. Live chat. Did you raise an eyebrow? Did you raise an eyebrow when you read this chapter title? No. There is another aspect of idolatry that's not yet covered, and it can be identified as the sin that's not sin. To complete the process of eliminating kryptonite, we can't ignore this one, for it can be the most elusive to identify. Let's open with a parable. One day, a bystander commented to Jesus about how great it will be to attend a banquet in the kingdom of God. Jesus takes advantage of this comment to illustrate a profound truth. He says, a man prepared a great feast and sent out many invitations. When the banquet was ready, he sent his servants to tell the guests, come, the banquet is ready. But they all began making excuses. Luke chapter 14, verses 16 through 18. The pivotal word in this parable is excuses. Have you ever experienced this? You ask something of someone, whether it's for help, an invitation to a party or a dinner, to accomplish a needed task, or to run an errand, or any other request, and the reply is a lame excuse. What do excuses communicate? Quite simply, that what they want you to do is more important than your request. In essence, they are saying, my priorities are higher than my list on my list than yours. According to Jesus, this man wasn't throwing a barbecue and serving hamburgers and hot dogs with some chips. This was some this was a great feast, an important event. He did it to bless those who would he would invite. The invitations had been printed, sealed, sent out, and everyone desired to attend, but everyone replied with excuses. One said, I just bought a field, and I must inspect it. Please excuse me. Luke chapter 14, verse 18. Here is an important question. Is it sin to purchase a field? Of course not. If it is, I'm in trouble because I've bought some land in my lifetime. However, when purchasing the land is more important than the word of the Lord. It is sin. That's not sin. More specifically, it's the idolatry or kryptonite. Let's look at the next man. Another man said, I have bought 5 pairs of oxen. I want to try them out. Please excuse me. Luke chapter 14, verse 19. Again, is buying oxen, not oxygen, oxen. Or to be more relevant, is buying equipment for your business a sin? Of course it isn't. I've bought business equipment in my lifetime. When buying something, is it more important than the word of the Lord? Is it sin? So again, it's sin that's not sin. Or more specifically, it's idolatry or kryptonite. Let's check out the last recipient of the invitation. Another said, I now have a wife, so I can't come. Luke 14, verse 20. Hey, Evan. Oh, boom, boom. Let me hear you say, well. Well. There you go. One last time, allow me to ask, is marrying a wife a sin? If it is, a lot of men, including myself, are in trouble. Of course it isn't. However, when the wife becomes more important than the word of the Lord, it is sin. Again, it's sin. That's not sin. More specifically, it's idolatry or kryptonite. I think the point is clear. When we put anyone, anything, or any activity before the word of the Lord or before God, it's sin. What is not sin becomes sin. Well, the item doesn't become sin. The action becomes sin of ignoring God or elevating something above him becomes an idol. As far as I've mentioned, the kryptonite, my kryptonite exposed. As I've mentioned before, I fell in love with Jesus Christ when I was a sophomore at Purdue University. I received him as Lord at my fraternity in 1981. I was on fire for him. Several months later, it was football season at Purdue. I was now a junior, a student. I had season tickets to all our home games. During my previous 2 years, I didn't miss any one of them. But now I was so excited about Jesus, I used the time of the football games to study my Bible. The fraternity was quiet because all the guys were at the game. It was a good chance for some great times of prayer. I was enjoying the time with God more than football games. No one had said to me, you shouldn't go to the football games. I never thought attending a game was wrong. In fact, I went to many them my final year. Just after graduating from Purdue, I moved to Dallas, Texas. And several months later, accepted the position at my church. Due to the size and influence of the ministry, we had over 400 employees. Would that be the same Purdue with the APA style format guide? I have no idea of it. Because obviously it's not me that did it, it's the author of the book. Or are we talking chicken? At the time, the Dallas Cowboys were one of the best teams in the National Football League. I wasn't much of a Cowboys fan since I had grown up in Michigan, but I frequently heard the guys on staff talking about the team every Monday. They would passionately discuss it in detail, the previous day's game, stats, notable plays, and of course, the potential playoff picture. Out of curiosity, I started watching the Cowboys. It started out with a quarter or two. I liked watching them because they were exciting. There was another benefit. It gave me the opportunity to intellectually discuss the games with the guys at the office. But as time passed, my interest in the Cowboys became stronger, and I started watching entire games. I found myself talking to the TV with great passion, cheering, and sometimes yelling at the players. It eventually got to the place where I didn't miss a game or any portion when even in the off season my coworkers and I continued conversations about the draft, how the Cowboys would be the next season. I was now a full-blown fan. Once the next season arrived, I consumed with excitement every Sunday. After service, I would rush home, flip on the TV, not even remove my church clothes. We were we wore suits in those days. Sometimes I would just sit there glued to the television, even though I was in uncomfortable clothes and needed to use the bathroom. I didn't want to miss a play. Somebody doesn't look crazy. At halftime, I would change clothes. If Lisa needed help with something, forget it. Honey, the Cowboys are playing, I'd say. We'd eat half. We'd eat at halftime, or even better, after the game, but never during the game. At this point, I knew the stats of the team. I'd carefully examine them constantly, think about how the Cowboys could do better. I was the one leading the conversations at work. There were some people at my church who had season tickets, and I'd accept every invitation they made to go to the stadium for a game. There was never a lame excuse not to go. Let's fast forward to the next season. A short time earlier, I had prayed something I thought to be quite simple and simply insignificant. However, I didn't realize it would change my life. My prayer was, Lord, I ask that you would purify my heart. I want to be holy, set apart for you. So if there's anything in my life not pleasing to you or a priority before you, expose it and help me remove it. The football season was coming to a close. The playoffs were approaching. It was the day of a crucial game. The Cowboys were playing Philadelphia Eagles, and the winner of the game would go to the playoffs. And the loser was out. I was glued to the television, not seated on a couch. not seated on a couch, but standing on my feet in the middle, in the front. I was standing on my feet right in front of the screen. The game was in the final quarter, only 8 minutes left on the clock. The Cowboys behind the 4 points, but their star quarterback had the team moving down the field. I was now pacing the floor between plays, yelling in frustration and miscues, or reacting with exuberant joy over a great plays. The suspense was exhilarating. Hey Mallet, how are you? Well, I'm gonna keep you guys all in suspense. Uh, on what comes next. Hopefully you can tune in tomorrow to learn the rest, because we're about halfway through this chapter, and that's usually where I end. I only go about half a chapter at a time. So these are usually not meant to be long, these Corona free. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, how is everybody? Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you've hit the like button, share it out, comment. Yeah, no problem, Mallet. No problem. Um, Remember to check out High Noon at noon Eastern Standard Time, so that's about 2.5 hours away. So I guess we will see everybody then. So bye for now. God bless. Have a great and wonderful day.